It's been quite some time that Nissan has been searching for its big hit in India, and that hasn't happened in the last few years. And that's the reason why the company is now aiming to enter the subcompact SUV segment, which is a large segment in terms of volumes. But on the flip side, Nissan, once in this segment with the all-new Magnite that we are driving today, will go up against extremely tough competition in the form of the Hyundai Venue, Kia Sonet, Tata Nexon and Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza. But now, can the Magnite still put up a fair challenge and come out on top, or probably make some numbers or make some space for it in this segment? Well, that's exactly what we will find out over the next few minutes. The Nissan Magnite is an all-new car in this segment, and hence it comes with an all-new design, and I'm sure that this is a design that will go down well with many young buyers. Starting from the front, it's got a sharp and a dynamic face. You can see this wide grille, and wide grilles are the in thing these days. Now there's of course a lot of chrome here, and that should keep a lot of Indian buyers happy. The finish on the grille again has been done nice, and it looks dynamic. It has a good mix of premium as well as a dynamic appeal. If you look at these headlamps, again sleek units, and you've got these very good looking LED DRLs as well, which add a lot of dynamism and sharpness to the design. Now, while the Magnite is available in many colors, this one is one shade that truly stands out. It is very different, and of course it comes with the good looking dual tone finish on the roof. So again, it's a good combination, makes the car look different and stand out from any other car in this segment. On the side also, you've got again nice strong dynamic character lines all over, and that gives a nice muscular feel to the car. Again, you've got these good looking 16-inch alloy wheels, and of course they have a good design which go along well with the sharp design of the vehicle. Move further back to the rear, and just behind the C-pillar you'll find some strong lines, and move even further back to the tail, and what you'll find is a set of sleek looking tail lamps. The boot, again the tail lid has been done well. So in a nutshell, the Magnite is a good looking, it's a dynamic design, and what really makes it different from many other subcompact SUVs is that this one looks brawny and it looks big. So the design basically accentuates the size, and that for me is the biggest takeaway, and that is something that will go down well with a lot of potential buyers. Once inside the cabin of the Nissan Magnite, you're greeted to a very refreshingly different interior design, and what you see is unlike any other car in this segment, so that's a good thing. Now, first of all, one of the things that will grab your attention are these hexagonal air conditioning vents with the metal finish. They look premium and uplift the overall effect of the cabin. The center part of the dashboard again has been given a nice honeycomb design, and it looks premium. It feels good to touch as well. The lower part of the dashboard is done in hard plastic. Now, the plastic quality here is decent, but what could have been better inside the cabin is the consistency in terms of panel gaps. So if you'll see around here and on the other side, even the steering column, the gaps between the panels are a little inconsistent, but again, these are things which will largely be away from your usual line of sight when inside the cabin. Coming to the central infotainment screen, well, again, this is a nice screen. It's got a floating design and it's got good resolution. It works well. The interface is pretty simple. The touch response is decent, and it's a fully connected car. So you get to do a lot of stuff using your smartphone, and it has some safety and convenience features also, which we are seeing in most of the new cars with full connectivity. So that is one good thing about the car. Now, one other nice thing that I like inside the cabin is the climate control setup here. The display and the buttons have been done very nicely. Again, a very different design. You also get a wireless charging pad, which has pretty much become a norm in the segment these days. Now, what is different about the center console here in the lower part is the way it has been designed. So while you have the space for the wireless charging here, you also have enough space here to place in your other phone or your sunglasses. There's a USB and a 12-volt socket here as well. There are cup holders here. The driver armrest, again, along with the seat, with this denim finish, even on the door pads, looks good. It's different and it's good in terms of touch quality as well. The slight downside here is that there is no storage space under the driver armrest, but to compensate that, you have a lot of space here as well. And the door pockets, again, large enough to hold your water bottles and a lot more. The seats are also quite comfortable, good cushioning, the side support is nice, and there is ample space as well. So yes, from a front perspective, what you get is pretty impressive. The other good thing is the instrument cluster. Now this is a fully digital instrument cluster, has got some lively, colorful effects to it. So some people might like it a lot. I would still prefer the old analog or the digital display with the analog design, but yes, you will get used to it and it gives out a lot of information. The steering wheel, again, it feels nice and chunky to hold. It's got the usual controls here, and well, the other good thing is visibility. So once you're in the driver's seat, finding your position, your ideal position is easy and you have good visibility all around. If you're buying the Magnite from a family perspective and you're looking at space, well, this is one area where the Magnite will leave you impressed, because the space inside the cabin, be it the front or the rear, is pretty impressive and a lot more than most of its rivals. Now, with the driver's seat adjusted to my driving preference, and I'm 5 feet 8 inches for reference, there is a lot of legroom. You can see the knee room is quite nice, and I can easily slide my feet under the seat. And if I talk about the seat itself, well, the seat is something that makes this car very different from its rivals, because what you have is a wide flat seat. You can easily have 3 people seated here, and you have a flat floor, an almost flat floor with a flat seat, so that would make it a comfortable place to be in for all 3 occupants. The cushioning on the seat is nice, the under thigh support is quite impressive, and the backrest angle too is decent. So that means that if you are going to have people in this seat for a long time, the Magnite is going to keep you pretty happy. And the space in the boot, again, is quite nice, and if you want more space, you can always flip these seats and make space for a lot more luggage. In terms of convenience features, you have air conditioning vents here, a 12-volt charging socket, and the door pockets, again, are large enough to easily accommodate your water bottles and a few more knickknacks. There's a cushion armrest here, so again, that makes things comfortable. And like I said, space in terms of a knee room is perfectly fine. In terms of headroom also, there again is a lot of space to spare. So yes, this is one car that will appeal to a lot of Indian buyers in terms of space, and that is what makes it so different. That said, one thing that could have made things a little better and livelier inside the cabin is a sunroof, which is presently not part of the Magnite lineup. And sunroof, as we all know it, is something that a lot of Indian consumers today want, and hopefully Nissan will bring it on the Magnite in some time. And now on to the driving performance of the Magnite. Now, first things first, there is no diesel in the Magnite lineup. So with that out of the way, let's focus on the petrol options available. Now, the Magnite is available only with a 1-liter petrol engine, but you can either have it in the form of the base level, wherein you get about 72 horsepower, that's the entry-level variant, or you can have it in the turbo variant, which we are driving right now, and in that spec you would get 100 horsepower and 160 Newton meters of torque if you are opting for the manual transmission variant. If you are opting for this CVT, which we are driving right now. In that case, the torque is slightly down at 152 Newton meters. So with these figures out of the way, how does the engine perform in the real world? Well, to start off the line, acceleration is brisk, and you can make out that this is a 100 horsepower motor, so you get a good acceleration, and again you get it's a punchy engine. Basically, to sum it up, it's a punchy engine that you have here, and it's best enjoyed with the manual gearbox. The CVT again is far better than some other CVTs and the CVT that we have seen in some Nissan vehicles earlier. So there's been a remarkable improvement, and as a result of that, that rubber band effect that you always associate with the CVT the effect has gone down considerably. So this is now a CVT that you can have slightly more fun driving and less annoyance, and of course it's something that gives you the convenience when you're driving in your daily urban traffic. Coming back to the manual transmission, well, if you are someone who's looking for a car that is good to drive, if you are a driving enthusiast, like I said, the engine is powerful enough, and the manual gearbox, the only slight issue with it is that while the throws are fine, the gearbox, when you're trying to row through it quickly, when you're pushing the car, that's when it feels a bit notchy. There's a bit of gruffiness when you go through the shift gate, and once you get used to it, once you get used to the gearbox, well, in that case, the Magnite would make as a good driver's car. And the reason why I say that is because it also has good handling. Now, if you chuck the Magnite around corners, it doesn't show any form of resistance. It feels happy going fast through corners, and there is a hint of understeer when you push it hard, but then again, that's something you would get with any front wheel drive car. But that said, it is stable in a straight line. It has good brakes. The brakes do a good job of bringing the vehicle to a halt. Going through the corners, again, no problem there as well. And the steering also feels nice. It's a direct steering, so it's pretty much a point and shoot affair. Decent amount of feedback from the steering, and ride quality also is good. So that means you get a good balance between performance and comfort, and as a result of that, this is a vehicle that can be considered by people who are looking at a family vehicle, or even a vehicle that you want to have good drives, recreational drives in. So yes, as far as driving performance is concerned, the Nissan Magnite ticks pretty much all the right boxes except the slight issue with the manual gearbox. Now, with performance out of the way, let's talk about things that make your driving experience more convenient, and therein you have the reverse parking camera. Of course, it's not just a reverse parking camera, it also has a 360 degree vision functionality built in. So that means when you're trying to park in or getting out of tight spaces, it is much easier because you get a top view of the vehicle in addition to the rear or the side view. So that is something nice. And like I said earlier, visibility is also good. So yes, makes for a convenient and hassle-free driving experience. The only slight thing that I think could have been a little better is the refinement levels inside the cabin. So that's the NVH. The noise, vibration and harshness levels could have been a little more controlled. So they're not the best in the segment right now. There are competitors which will give you a more refined driving experience. That said, this doesn't feel rough. It's not bad. It's just that it's not the best in its segment. The initial report for the Nissan Magnite then seems quite positive. The car looks good, it has a lot of space inside the cabin, and it has a lot of modern features. It is also a connected car, and it drives very nice as well. So yes, on the face of it, things look pretty rosy for the Nissan Magnite. The one thing, however, that we don't have any clue about right now is the price, because this vehicle is yet to be launched, but we are hoping that Nissan will go ahead and price this not just competitively but aggressively, because that is what they need to do if they want to make a spot or a place for them in this segment. So our expectation is that the Nissan Magnite should start at somewhere around a little under rupees 6 lakh and should top out at under rupees 10 lakh. If Nissan can manage that pricing and package the variants well and support them with good after sale service, there is a good chance that the Nissan Magnite might finally give Nissan the kind of success they've been searching for a long time. So now that we've come to the end of this video, before I sign off, there's one interesting thing I would like to share, and that is about the key fob of the Nissan Magnite. Now, strangely enough, well, even if you look at the Nissan GTR, it gets a similar key fob. And to be honest, it's a very cheap looking and old design key fob. And hopefully Nissan changes this sometime soon, because this just doesn't go along. And all Nissan cars have similar key fobs. So Nissan, if you're listening, please give us a better key fob. If you like this video, please share it and subscribe to our channel as well. Until the next time we meet again, please obey all traffic rules and wear your seat belts.